Thank you. Thank you. Hey. Very good. Thank you. Please. Oops.
You have fans in the
I know.
audience.
Look at that. Wonderful to be with the fans.
Professor Muhammad Yunus, a very warm welcome
Thank
to the
you.
New York Times and to our Climate Forward event. You have inherited what you've called a revolutionary transition. You're tasked with restoring order, restoring the economy, creating jobs for the young people who are out on the streets, demonstrating accountability, but all of this amid a climate crisis.
Yeah.
How do you do that? Does it require a fundamental rethinking of how a country like yours prospers on a hotter planet?
Well, thank you for raising that question. We don't have the word start. We said reform. The whole theme of the government that we inherited from the student movement and the student revolution that just took place, which brought us into the power, is reform. We don't want to go back to what has happened to Bangladesh until August 5 this year. So the way they express it is that we push the reset button, done, build a new Bangladesh. So we are not inheriting things from our past.
Okay.
We build it completely new. So that's the task. Reform is the big agenda for us in every sector, because we have inherited devastated economy, devastated institution, destroyed the structures everywhere, policies. So we have to go build again in a new format. So this is the period that we go through the reform. Once the reform agenda is done, then we go for the election and have the new government come in.
How do you do this in the middle of a climate crisis? This is something you have thought about for many years. You've talked about creating a society with zero emissions and zero poverty. What's your vision for how a country can prosper?
Yeah, it's very difficult. The way I express it is more drastic way. I said over time that we have been in this planet. We are very smart. We created a lot of smart things in the world. But we created a civilization which is a self-destructive civilization. So we have no escape route from this civilization but to destroy ourselves.
What do you mean self-destructive?
Self-destructive means if you see what is happening to the environment will make sure that the way we have damaged it, continue to damage it, will not let us survive on this planet. That's a self-destructive civilization, because it's not happening because God has willed it. It's happening because the way we behave every day. And that's the result we get. So we have to go to the original. What are the basic principles of the civilization? What's the basic structure of the civilization? Where this destruction part comes out of it? Can we redesign this civilization in a different way, which will be beautiful world, self-supporting, enjoying life for every form of life on this planet? Yes, we can. We are smart enough to design that. But we're stupid enough to do something bad, which we are suffering right now. So we have to go back to the basics of
That's a tall order.
It's a tall order.
In practical terms, what does that mean for you?
It means the economic system that we built is the key to the destruction of this planet. The whole economic system is based on one basic principle: maximization of profit. So you see only yourself. In the maximization of profit, you don't see what the planet is, where your neighbor is. You don't consider anything. That's what we teach in our business classes. That's what we practice in our business practices and so on and so forth. Maximization of profit. The more profit you make, more successful you are. Nobody cares if you make lots of money, how much damages you have done to this planet in the process. That's not accounted for. So you go on merrily, make money, and so on. In the process, we destroyed this planet. In the process, we destroyed the society, created massive amount of wealth concentration. Every day, wealth is getting to the top. Well, the civilization and economic framework that we built, wealth never comes downwards. It has no practice of that. It always goes to the top. Everything that we do, it all goes to the top. So every day, the people who are rich get richer. People who are in the bottom languish there. They have no mechanism to survive, no mechanism to move up. That is not the concern of the economy. That's a wrong economic design. If you want to design economics, we can design it in a way where wealth will not go up. Wealth will be with everybody, rather than be concentrated on few hands. A small fraction of the entire world population owns, say, 80%, 90% of the wealth. It's a shame that we have to create that kind of, and we don't pay any attention whatsoever. We just enjoy, our GDP is increasing, fantastic development is taking place. In the process, all the wealth goes to the top.
There is one school of thought that says industrialized countries, Europe, the United States, others, have built their economies through oil and coal and gas. And now, when developing countries have that chance, they should also do so and use their own resources.
Make it faster.
In fact, we had the president of Guyana here on stage earlier this morning, and he said this is our chance to produce oil and to prosper. What's your thinking along those lines?
That thinking is a wrong thinking. Just because you destroy it, I have the right to destroy it too. That's not a logic. I stop you from destroying. And I don't destroy because he never destroyed us. Bangladesh, for example, small country with a big population, 170 million people. One of the most densely populated country in the whole world. So you imagine that if we start destroying the planet, we can do it very fast. But instead, we are the victims of the environmental damages that the rest of the world is doing to the planet. So we are suffering. So if you say, now, we go and destroy the same way that they have done because we follow their the footprints and develop the economy they have done, so we make it faster. Destruction becomes faster. That's why we say the way we have created this planet, the civilization that we have created for ourselves, it is self-destructing civilization. We are not considering how to protect this planet. We are very concentrated on destroying this planet. The more destruction you make, richer you get. That's it.
You've just said that, countries like yours are the victims of 150 years of fossil fuel burning. Bangladesh is one of the most vulnerable countries to sea level rise, storm surges.
You name it.
Very erratic monsoons and rising temperatures, which, I have felt on my visits there during the hot season. What do rich countries owe countries like yours? Anything?
Build walls so that you can't destroy us. You must find a way. Why should we carry the burden of all the destruction that you put on us? You are the cause. We are the result. And why should it be? So nobody raised that voice. We celebrate, your quality of life is improving, you're making lots of money, all the wealth. You see, I talked about wealth concentration as individuals. Individuals, 5%, 10% of the people owning 90% of the wealth of the whole world. What about the countries? 10 countries in the whole world, just 10 countries, own probably 90% of the wealth of the entire world. What kind of world is that? What kind of civilization is that? And we say we are not smart enough to redesign it? Of course, we are smart enough to redesign it if we are paying attention to it. We are not paying attention to it. We are always talking about one damage of the environment here, one damage is here. We're always saying the symptoms of this. We're not getting to the cause of it. So I'm saying get to the cause of it. We can have a beautiful planet if we redesign the system. And that's where we have been talking about. We can, in my language, I say we have to create a new civilization based on 3 zeros. 0 net carbon emission, 0 wealth concentration, 0 unemployment. These are the 3 zeros that we have accomplished. And we can do that. We have very demonstrated ways how to do that, how to make it happen. On top of it, you see, the issue that we are not raising yet is waste.
Waste?
Waste, yes. This is an economy based on waste. The more waste you create, the more quote-unquote development you get. Because the whole idea of business is waste. Throw away things because you can buy more. And buy. That is the only slogan in the market, buy.
Okay.
Discount, concessions, bargains. You have to buy. Buy means waste. Why do we have to waste? And waste is a thing which destroys this planet. And we are encouraging vigorously in every single billboard that you see, buy, and destroy.
You're pointing to a central contradiction there. Your country, as a major garment exporter, of course, is producing many of the things we buy. And that is a principal source of, export earnings for Bangladesh. Also an industry that is very susceptible to the hazards of climate change. Now, you are a veteran of climate negotiations. Almost 10 years ago in 2015, the world came together, came up with this agreement to slow down emissions, eventually get to 0. In your view, how is that going, or does that also need some sort of a reset?
I'm not interested in that, because you're still working in the same framework. I said, change the framework. As long as you have the same framework, whether you slow it down a little bit here, a little bit there, that doesn't stop the final destruction. We are just waiting for the final day. That's the way we do. No matter what action you take, keeping the framework of the economy intact, we have no escape. We have to go back to see what are the damaging things we include in our economic practices. So I mentioned the profit maximization is the key to the whole thing. Can there be economy which is not based on profit maximization? Is there an answer? Yes. We have been promoting this for many, many years. Call it social business. Business to solve problem rather than make money for yourself. People say, this is not going to work because people want to make money. That makes them happy. The more money you have, more happy you get. I said, again, you're repeating what has been told to you. You're not looking at it, what you're saying. I said, can I say that making money may be happiness, but making other people happy may be super happiness? And people say, yeah. And people say, oh, I don't think so. I said, yes, because you don't think so because you never did it. I said, why didn't you try it? Try both. Profit maximizing business for you and social business for you. Business to solve problem rather than make money for yourself. You own both businesses. I can guarantee you, if you do that, you'll go more and more on the side of the social business, because that brings so much enjoyment for you, because you're doing something for this planet, for the people.
So the Paris Agreement was designed to solve a big problem, a big global problem. That was the whole idea. Are you suggesting that it's not working?
It won't work.
And it won't work?
It won't work.
Tell me more. Why is it not working?
As long as you have the same destructive framework, no matter what amendments you do, it will lead to the same result. You cannot stop the waste, for example. Your economy will collapse if you start buying things. If you want to bring to the zero waste level, you have to stop the whole campaign, whole tradition, Christmas gifts, birthday gifts, Father's Day gifts, Mother's Day gifts. Give, waste, waste, waste. If you stop that, economy collapses. So What kind of economy you got? You are saying, no, we should not create waste. Then you go on promoting waste. The whole economy is nothing but promoting waste. So we are encouraging young people. This is a kind of a movement that we have undertaken, creating what we call 3-0 clubs.
These are the 3 zeros.
3 zeros.
0 emissions.
0 emissions, 0 wealth concentration, 0 unemployment. 5 young people. I emphasize on the young people because they can think more clearly than the adults. The adults' minds is contaminated completely. They cannot see things in a natural way because their mind controls the mind and so on. So young people still, they have fresh eyes, fresh way of looking at things. So that's the best bet to save the planet. 5 young people get together and form a 3-0 club. What is the purpose of it? Purpose of it, I, as a member of the club, must make sure I do not contribute in emissions. I will not do anything which creates emissions. So it's my responsibility. Rest of the world is contributing, but I will not.
But Bangladeshis have a very small emissions.
I'm not talking about Bangladeshi young people. I'm saying the global young people. Global young people. I said this whole world is our home. Bangladesh and things are just an identification mark. But this is our home. When we are not protecting our home, Bangladesh cannot do anything by itself, or any other country cannot do anything by itself. It's a home for all of us. And whatever 8 billion people that we live, this is our home. So we are when you come to environment, you have to think that way, that this is our home, we have to protect it together. So we said, I, as a person, will not contribute to global warming by not using fossil fuel. I can calculate that I use fossil fuel 7 days a week. Every day I use fossil fuel. So my first responsibility will be, can I make it happen 6 days a week? 1 day will be fossil fuel free. And gradually 5 days, 3 days, 1 day, and no days, 0 days. So this first I will not do anything which will contribute to wealth concentration, and that we can do. And then I will not contribute anything which will create unemployment. So these are the 3 things.
The 3 things.
And I become, in the process, when I achieve that, I become a 3-0 person. And all members of the club will become a 3-0 person. I said, if I can become a 3-0 person, whole world can become a 3-0 world. Only then. Unless we change our behavior, no way you can change anything.
Speaking of home, I want to ask you a slightly different question. Millions of Bangladeshis have left home and made new homes all over the world. You and I have both met people who have been persuaded to leave their homes because they want a better life, but also because of climate-induced disasters, right? Storms have wiped away their homes, their lands, their livelihoods. They have left. In your view, is there a need for countries to create new, safe pathways for people who are displaced by climate disasters?
See, you again bring me back to this narrow issue of one country. We are talking about our home, planet. We have to save the planet. You can do a little bit here, save somebody who is victim of the flood. That doesn't save the planet. If you want to save the planet, you have to think in the planet terms, that we are all responsible for all the things that happen. Some are more responsible because they're creating more waste. Some are more responsible, they use more fossil fuel. Some are more responsible because they create more of the things that are bad for the planet. So it's called global environment that we have to talk about.
Global migration is a big issue.
Is a temporary issue? It's a temporary issue because I'm trying to save myself. I'm not talking about how you live, how somebody. All I want to save myself. This is unsafe place, so I go someplace else.
And many people are taking unsafe passages, taking a real risk because there aren't safe pathways.
Sure.
So I want to come back on this question with you. Should there be new safe pathways for migration?
Nobody will disagree with that. When you say safe and unsafe. Nobody goes for unsafe. Everybody goes for safe. Yeah, sure. So that's an obvious answer.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to quickly turn, because we're running out of time, I'm going to quickly turn to what's going on at home in Bangladesh. There have been, as you know better than anyone, instances of street justice, mob justice. There's been concern that people will be punished, there will be vengeance for their political beliefs. You yourself have been a victim of what you've called politically motivated cases. So how do you ensure that justice is blind in this transition?
Yeah, we just moved away from environment.
We did.
We came into
went to
something
the
else.
political environment, yes.
We'll go to the political environment. Yes, there was a huge revolution. Young people were shot. Hundreds of them were killed by the police. And out of that came emergence of a power of the young people together with the citizens of whole country, brought down the regime that existed, which caused all the misery in the country, destroyed all the institutions in the country. So they got rid of them. The leader of the political party who created this left the country, and they created a new environment where they want to create a new Bangladesh. They were saying that we just push the reset button. Our old country is done, finished. We don't want to have anything to do with it. We build a new Bangladesh. So that's the new Bangladesh they're talking about, establish rule of law and justice, and reform all the institutions that we have, which have been destroyed by the previous generation, previous regime. So this is what is happening in Bangladesh right now.
You are heading the interim government. What have you done yourself to ensure that justice is blind, that there isn't politically motivated vengeance?
Well, as a government, this is your responsibility. So it doesn't add anything extra to that. And nobody is victim of political victimization of this nature in Bangladesh right now. Those who are guilty left the country. So the people who are there are still, nobody is saying you belong to this old party, so you should be punished. Nobody is saying that.
Well, there have been instances of street justice.
I think if you have that street justice, this is exaggerated news that you are getting.
Okay.
So it's the only thing I can tell you. So I invite all the reporters to come there, and yourself invited because you have been there in Bangladesh many times. Find out in a specific case. This is the case, this is the person. Yeah.
Okay. You have said your previous leaders, many of them have left the country.
Yeah.
Should the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina be extradited to face trial?
Why shouldn't be? If she has created crime, she should be extradited and brought to justice. You are just pleading the justice. She should be facing the justice too.
Okay.
Sure.
You have said that you wish to have elections as soon as possible.
That's true.
Can you say approximately when do you think elections should be held?
It shouldn't be too far, within a reasonable time limit.
What's a reasonable time limit?
We have the reform agenda. So in the reform agenda, what we do is we right now have 6 commissions engaged to reform election commission, reform the justice system, reform police system, and so on and so forth. So there are 6 commissions now working. They are asked to submit their report in 3 months, what needs to be done. So there will be a blueprint of actions of reform, and this will be shared with all the political parties. If they think these can be done, it will be done. If they say, no, this part you leave alone for the elected government, we'll leave it for the elected government. So that's the time limit we need.
6 months, did you say?
I have no idea how much time.
Okay.
3 months. We
3 months.
We gave the time to 3 months to the commission.
3 months.
And then report comes out. Then the question of negotiation and discussions so that we come to a consensus so that we can hold an election. That's it.
So what needs to be in place? I know you can't say exactly when, but what needs to be in place for elections to happen? First, these commissions need to produce their reports. And what else?
Election commission has to be reformed according to the recommendation of the commission. And voter list has to be prepared, whatever time it needs. That's it.
Is there any chance that you would run for office?
Do I look like someone who will run? I'm not in the running business at all.
There is no chance that you would run for office.
No way, no way. That's not me.
Well, I thank you very much for coming and for taking our questions.